What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today, we're just going to be going over price action the last few weeks and talking about what do you do when you go on a losing streak and what are your options when your strategy is not working. So, within the last about week and a half or so, the markets have been changing. Gold and NASDAQ specifically, but basically our supply and demand strategy has not been working. Our zones are not getting tapped. Our zones are being invalidated, and we're facing these obstacles with supply and demand that is making it no longer viable now. So the market's not always going to be the same. We have 4 quarters per year, and each quarter kind of has its own characteristics. So you have to be backtesting and analyzing the market in your free time to kind of get an idea of what is going to come and the current characteristics of the market, because within the last week and a half, I've been noticing supply and demand has not been working. It really hasn't, and that's a problem. It's a problem for us because supply and demand is our main thing. So yeah, we're just gonna be hopping on the charts today, looking at price action over the last week and a half, kind of discussing what are my options, what am I going to do from here on out. And yeah, man, let's get straight to the video. Alright, here we are, March 17th, last Monday. So I'm going to run through the price action on these last few days and just show you kind of what we're facing right now. So right here, throw the EMAs on, you can just see we're already chopping. 200 EMA in the middle. We have this range essentially, so this is automatically a bad day to trade supply and demand. Don't want to trade supply and demand within ranges. This is a trending strategy. You want price to be trending in order to take good supply and demand setups. So right here, automatically this is just not a good day to take a setup. There is no supply and demand here. There's a zone right here, this red candle, invalidated. A low prob right here, invalidated. There's no significance here for supply and demand here. So on to the next day. Just gonna run through these real fast, kind of break these down. So this one right here, this is beautiful. So what do we have here? London pushed up, nice. Okay, New York is also pushing up, beautiful. So we're trending, so we're looking for supply and demand here. And what do we have here? We have a demand right here. If we replay this and go right to this, we tapped into the zone perfectly. Now the problem here is we have a double top. We have 2 rejections near the same area, basically double top. A little bit off, but just fine. This is basically double top as well. So we have no break of structure. We kind of just have a wick. You can consider this a break of structure based off the wick, but not that clean. And in real time, when you're trying to take a demand setup like this and you have a double top like this, that's not a good sign. That's something you do not want to trade against. It is a clear reversal sign, but it might not be a reversal at the same time. It's kind of just one of those things you gotta accept if you're going to take a setup like this. But if you go to the next candle, it wicks the bottom of the demand setup, so invalid. The demand setup is irrelevant. And fast forward, and what do you know? It goes up right after. This would be a perfect setup for an EMA breakout. However, we do not have a breaker structure, so it's not the best. And then what does it do after? What does it do after? It creates another demand setup. Right here, break structure, come back down. We should be tapping the zone in order to continue up, just like it did. Now, what happens? If we look right here, we are 0.1 tick away from tapping the zone. 0.1 tick, and look at what would have happened if we were to take this. Break of the candle, stop loss below the wick, immediately to TP, no drawdown, beautiful. Well, you would have a little bit of drawdown, but that's not a problem here. This is a beautiful trade. So this happened on NASDAQ the other day too, last week, but just 0.1 tick. Just gotta stick to your rules. Stick to your rules. Didn't tap the zone, it's not valid. So next day, also had a supply setup, but we're looking for buys there. We're not going counter trend. That's the last thing we want to do at the moment. Wednesday, we do not trade Wednesdays. I do not trade Wednesdays because it's probably the most common day of the week where supply and demand is not occurring. Wednesdays, it's a lot of breakouts, kind of different. So here we are, Thursday. And what do we have here? We have, okay, so yeah, I actually took this 15-minute supply. So this is pretty beautiful. Now we have all this aggressive selling. This is beautiful for a retracement into that area and to take a sell in that area. So if we go to the 15-minute, we have a nice supply right here. This was the supply I took. I believe I took it on the express and one of my challenges. I did pass another express, so we have two 50K expresses now. But it's kind of crazy that as soon as I get funded, the market changes up. So it is what it is. You gotta be versatile with this. But yeah, I took this dub. Not the best. 15-minute zone only. It's not too bad. No 1 hour. And yeah, it's a good spot to sell because we're not selling too low. We could sell up here in order to take it down to this area where all this price has been. But I mean, not really what we're looking for, but this is valid. This is valid, and I did take this and went on it, so not too bad. EMAs were not perfect, but it's still not that bad of a setup. So that was one supply and demand setup that I took during this week. And if we just keep going to Friday, yeah, it's not looking too good. So I also took this setup right here. Now EMAs are in the way. EMAs are in the way, which is perfectly fine. EMAs are going to lag because they're based off price action, but they're always behind price action. So EMAs aren't everything. So right here, London consolidation. This is a beautiful kind of liquidity sweep. You can see right here, drop below this low, and then kind of consolidated, broke out. So we have a break and a retest here, also with a demand. And I wanted to fill the gaps to come up to, I thought there was a 1 hour supply here. I'm not sure. I feel like there's multiple supplies here because I had a pretty good bias for taking price up into this area in order for price to continue the downtrend. So I wanted to take a quick scalp right here off this demand, just right here, like this. Boom, this is exactly what I took, and just targeting a one-to-one quick scalp in and out counter trend. So don't really like to take the counter trend, but this is not that bad of a setup. So I actually cut my loss pretty perfectly. I cut it within, it was about right here is where I cut it, and it was pretty good, pretty textbook at cutting the trade. But I mean, you just fast forward, like, horrible price action, horrible. As you buy in, like, we were just stuck in a range immediately, and then it finally decides to break out to the downside. So it's messing with us right now. It is definitely messing with us. And yeah, we had a 4 hour above there, I think I'm thinking of a different setup, but yeah, you can see the supply and demand is not occurring the way that we need it to. So it is what it is. You just gotta pull out something else and talk about that in a second. But here was Monday as well, and I mean, what is this price action, bro? What is this price action? Look, 200 EMA in the middle. We're just not doing anything again. So see that it's not working out right now, which is just fine. We have other strategies. That's why you have other strategies on deck. And yeah, here we go again today. What do we have here? Nothing. We have a supply right here with the breaker structure, aggressive selling, came to a zone, break of the candle, invalid. Already lost. You are going against all the EMAs, so it's red flag number 1. Sales on gold, not that good. We really don't want to be selling gold. Most of the time when we lose on gold, when I lose on gold, it's because of taking sales. Gold is just a bullish instrument. The buys are beautiful. But yeah, that's gold. Not too good. So here we are in NASDAQ. What do we have here? What do we have here? So now, basically messing with us at this point. It's just trolling us. So, demand right here. Right, beautiful. Break structure, break above this high. Boom, come back into the zone. What do you know? 6:30 news. Not trading during red folder news. Slippage is not something to play with. Slippage will kill all your profits that you worked hard for over multiple days of being disciplined and sticking to your strategy, just for slippage to go past your stop loss and just kill your account. So, yeah, not doing that. So, invalid. Okay. Now we have another demand that formed. Break a structure. It's a news demand. Some news demands or some news zones can be good, but it's a little iffy because it's just volatility that comes into the market, and I'd rather have like a consistent aggressive buying coming from the demand without news in order to see more of what price is actually doing. But this is still valid. Some news can create some valid zones. And well, what do we have here again? So if we adjust our zone perfectly, here we are, bottom of this wick. We are 0.75 ticks short, 3 ticks basically, because moves in 0.25 increments, but 0.75 short of tapping the zone. And either way, it's at New York Stock Exchange Open. Some setups do win during New York Stock Exchange Open, but same thing as news, it's a little bit iffy, a little bit unpredictable, especially taking a setup right at 7:30. I'd rather wait a little bit after 7:45-ish. But once again, just barely does not tap the zone. So you can see here, it's just not performing. It's just really not performing. So let's go to the next day. Let's see what we can get here. So we have this supply that did form, and this is not too bad. We broke some structure to the downside, but this is not that good. This is really not that good. Looking at other time frames, I mean, what do you have here? Like, this is just, it's nothing really to base it off of. Like, there's nothing else going on other than the 5-minute zone, and the EMAs, like, it looks like it's getting ready to just chop pretty much, just range. So I'm good. I'm good off these sales. These sales are not good enough for me to put an order on. I could take a low risk setup, but I'm alright, bro. I'll just pass on that. Look for something else. And yeah, that was the day. We also had nothing. There's another supply right here, but I mean, you shouldn't be considering any of these valid because there is no breaker structure. See, we're just wicking this 200 EMA, basically kind of forming support, and then it finally breaks out. So there's no point in considering that. Now if we had a supply right here, that would be beautiful, and it actually wicked the bottom. No, it didn't actually, just barely was short of wicking. So if it would have tapped that, I would have considered that for sure. This is right before New York Stock Exchange Open. Not valid. You can't take this setup because you have to hold through New York Stock Exchange Open. Slippage is not so bad with New York Stock Exchange Open, but no, I'm not doing that. So Wednesday is coming up. Go ahead and skip through that. We can look at Wednesday, but I mean, bro, what the hell is this price action? What the hell? That is horrible. That's like NFP Friday. That's like a bank holiday. Like, that is horrible. And I'm off the charts at 8:30 my time, so 10:30 in New York. So anything after, it's not in my interest of taking. And looking at this day, I mean, what is there to take here? From the start, like, this is just nothing to do here. Sit on your hands and just kind of just cry. pretty much. But yeah, Friday, what do we have here? Okay, we're bearish for sure, and it doesn't come back in time with the New York session, so I mean, there's nothing to take here. There is no valid setup here. So check higher time frame to see, but I mean, low probability, 15-minute demand, 15-minute supply, doesn't tap the zone within time frame. New York session, 15-minute supply from London. It's irrelevant to me. I mean, what can you do? There's nothing to do here. Supply and demand is not working. So, what am I going to do with upcoming weeks? I'm going to be looking for support and resistance, liquidity grabs, and an EMA breakout strategy. Maybe I'll cover that strategy here soon. That was the strategy I used to pass that gold first 50k account. Yeah, man, just no supply and demand right now. Here's another demand zone, could have been valid, but nope. There was this demand, but tap the zone at 8 o'clock. I mean, this takes too long to hit TP. Could hold this, but at this point, I'm just not, like, supply and demand. It's got to be good, and it's got to be very clear, very good, in order for me to take it. It hits 1-to-1, but nah, bro, I'm cool off that. And if we fast forward to today, actually, this is a perfect example of the 13 EMA breakout. I took this win on my personal account. It's right here, right here. Go back a few candles. So this is low probability demand, invalidated, broke past it. So here we have a little bit of support, kind of, not the best. This is not very clear, and it's a little bit of a liquidity grab-ish. It's just not, like, this is not very ideal at all. Just it's beautiful where it's at. The rejection's here, rejecting these wicks here, but you know, no supply and demand. So today, what I did was, if we go back one candle, this was the candle close. So if I go 1 minute increments, I'm taking the buy at the end of this close because we close above the 13 EMA, and the idea is the same exact thing as the supply and demand. Basically, have our zone, push up, retrace, and we're looking for price to be underneath the 13 EMA and basically push up above it, close above it, take a buy at the end of that candle close, and put our stop loss below the previous candle and hope for price to go in our favor. And yeah, this was the setup I took today. So you can see we're automatically in with the momentum. And there you go. Not too bad, 1-to-1. I took this on the funded, but closed it early. I'm just gotta give it a little bit of time, bro, because everything is fresh right now. Market is changing a lot. Now, another setup I took today, the fund that I actually held, was this one. So, looking at London, or just price action in general for this day, we are so high. We are very high. This is a crazy bullish run. So, what can you do with this bullish run? Not taking buys. It's a little bit too high to take buys. And I don't even trade odd USD. This is crazy. I haven't traded Forex pairs since like the beginning of 2024, the end of 2023. So if we fast forward a little bit, now we're in consolidation, and boom, we get this nice candle, nice liquidity grab candle. See right here, wick above all other ones, reject, So now this would be your entry for liquidity grab right here. This is pretty aggressive, but this gives you a lot of capability to catch a nice runner. I mean, you're already halfway retracement. It's already a 1 to 5, so beautiful. Now this would be a 3-step confluence, so a little bit of free game here. But what do we have here? Supply, liquidity grab. So first, it's liquidity grab, break a structure, breaking these lows. Actually, we just barely broke it. This actually happened very fast. You gotta be on point in order to catch this. So, liquidity grab, break structure. We just barely broke structure down here, and then now we're waiting for the retracement into the zone. Boom, there you go. So, like, you can see how fast that happened. That was in 1 minute that he came back into the zone. So you gotta be ready for this stuff. So now I'm looking for it, break the candle here, and that was basically my entry. There you go, break of the candle. I entered just like that, and stop loss right here. And there you go. I held this down to about, I think it was this area that I took it down to. Yeah, right where it started consolidating. This was like only $170 on my Express, so not bad. This is a pretty textbook 3-step setup, 3-step confluence, 3-step supply and demand setup. But yeah, you can see that we're having to switch it up now. You got to be versatile. You cannot kind of just keep applying the same thing when it's not working. That's the thing with strategies and trying to trade year round, is the market's going to change, and you need to be ready for it to be changing. So right now, I'll have to do a recap on how I'm doing on the Express and everything, but so far, it's not looking good. I'm not going to blow any accounts. I'm still good. So, yeah, man. Support and resistance, liquidity grabs, 13 EMA breakout, 3-step confluence, supply and demand setups, just stuff like that. Kind of just refrain from taking supply and demand. Only if it's like a plus A setup, then I'll take the supply and demand. But the thing is the strategy works. When I've already been through phases like this where you'll have a losing period, and it's just the market. The market's kind of doing what it's going to do. It's going to change how it kind of acts, its characteristics. So just got to give it time. Give it a little bit of time. Don't worry about it much. And just chill, bro. Just chill. It's not that big of a deal. Just lower your risk. Be very cautious. And do something else that works if the main thing that you do is not working. Yeah, so that was pretty much the recap of how it's going, how price action has been the last week and a half, last few days. But it's not too bad. It's not that good, but not too bad. Just got to be very selective with what I do now, because I'm definitely gonna have to bring something else out. As you can see, like, I mean, there wasn't a single A setup within the whole time frame. So a lot of this has just been sitting on my hands, especially the beginning of March. The beginning of March was not very good. But yeah, I'll put something above me right now. This is my personal funds that I trade on Tradeovate. 81% win rate. Very selective with my personal funds. A little bit more lenient with the top step accounts. So you can see I'm still doing very good with my discipline and how selective I am with taking these setups. But yeah, you can see, like, I mean, you know, this is crazy. Happens right now after I get funded, but it is what it is. You know, it's a blessing to be able to do this. So got to be able to kind of go with the flow, pretty much. Can't just have a textbook flawless strategy year round. It's part of the game. Just take your losses and just figure out what we can do better. But yeah, that was it for today. Make sure y'all like the video, subscribe. I'm gonna be dropping some more content. Definitely like doing this. It's pretty cool doing the YouTube stuff. A lot of like-minded individuals watching this, so it's cool to have people that understand like the reality of trading and what this stuff is like. People don't really understand what this is when you explain it to them. So yeah, man, that's it for today. Peace out, yo.